I'm starting this video with an accusation. Hostile, I know, and I'll sweeten up quick, I promise. But I'm sure a high percentage of you guys and girls had forgotten about the legend that is Phil Jones. And that's understandable, given he's made less than 5 appearances for Manchester United in the past 3 seasons. Jones is a legend in his own very unique way, given his commitment to the sport and some unfortunate snapshots along the way, of course. A player who, despite perhaps falling out of the minds of many in the last few years as he was sidelined, won't soon be forgotten amongst the United faithful. He spent 12 years with Manchester United, and while things started well with some glowing words from a footballing titan such as Sir Alex Ferguson, you have to wonder whether those words helped or hindered him throughout his career. Many things can be true. Sure, there have been some high-profile blunders and funny faces along the way, but injuries never helped his case, and even then, he would give his entire heart on the pitch for United, through good times and bad. I mean, just look to his return to the pitch in 2022, after 2 years out with injury, and how much that meant to him. He's on his way out of the club now, and we don't know if, when, or where he would play again, given his knee injury. All that we know is that the Phil Jones era is over at Manchester United, the longest-serving member of the squad. Hey there, I'm Adrian, and welcome back to Rabona TV to all of our existing subscribers, and if you're new here, welcome. Consider subscribing if you enjoy videos like this and you want more videos like this. I gotta say, I never thought I would be making this video, but look, it's random. But I was eating salmon the other day, and that made me think of Phil Jones. Thank you, Mark Goldbridge, for that.
Pink boots! It's the pink boots, Marcus! The bloody pink boots! You look like a tin of salmon!
As of today, Phil Jones' contract with United has come to an end, so let's look back on his career. Born in Preston in 1992, Phil Jones joined Blackburn Rovers Youth Academy at just 10 years of age. Blackburn, by the way, there's a team I'll have to do a video on when I get more time. But anyway, Phil Jones was incredibly impressive at the youth levels for both club and country while he was still with Blackburn, so much so that he signed a professional contract with the then Premier League side at just 17 years of age at the beginning of the 2009-10 season. That season would, of course, be his breakout year. He made his senior debut in the League Cup in September, and by March of 2010, having just turned 18 and signed a new contract 1 month prior, Jones was a starting centre-back for the historic English club. One such match that he started was against Sir Alex Ferguson's Manchester United. United were in the title hunt at the time, trying to catch Ancelotti's Chelsea when Blackburn welcomed them to Ewood Park. Starting alongside Christopher Samba, Jones didn't look out of place in the slightest against the giants that were Manchester United. It must have been surreal for him, having grown up just north of Manchester during an era where United were all conquering in the Premier League. And so to come away with a single point, he no doubt will have been overjoyed. Jones started all but 2 of the final 9 matches of the 2009-10 season. In the following season, the 2010-11 season, he would switch between playing as a centre-back or defensive midfielder. Again, he would start against Manchester United at Ewood Park as a centre-back once again, and his showing in the 1-1 draw will have impressed Sir Alex Ferguson. Jones was still just 19 at the time, but playing in a back line with the likes of Christopher Samba and the legendary Michel Salgado, Ferguson took note of the maturity and leadership that Jones showed on the pitch, which just so happened to be the penultimate match day when United clinched the Premier League title. A few months later, Jones was on holiday, and, well, here's how he said it in a letter to the United supporters. Quote, "I had this hunger inside me. I was desperate to continue that at a club that could challenge for everything. I had offers from a few places, but I was waiting for the call from United. One day on holiday, the phone rang, and it was Sir Alex. I left my holiday that day. I couldn't wait to meet him. I couldn't wait to sign, and most of all, I couldn't wait to get started. There was only one club where I wanted to continue my journey in the game. To wear this shirt just once, to wear this badge and represent everyone associated with it was an honor." United ended up paying somewhere in the region of £16 million, which was the release clause in his contract with Blackburn. Various United players such as Rio Ferdinand and Wayne Rooney expressed their excitement at his signing via Twitter. Hell yeah, 2011 Twitter. I wonder what that was like. Rooney said he couldn't wait to play with him, while Rio said that another top young talent was joining and the future was bright for United. And upon joining the club for the 2011-12 season, Jones really had it against him when it came to competition for starting spots, didn't he? This was a time when Rio Ferdinand and Nemanja Vidic still had an incredible partnership, while Chris Smalling and Johnny Evans were waiting in the wings to pick up any minutes that Vidic or Ferdinand dropped along the way. However, Ferguson made use of Jones almost immediately. Ignoring the fact that he was just 19 or that he had just arrived at the club, he played him in a multitude of positions: center back, right back, or as a defensive midfielder. He got a brace of assists against Bolton from the right back position. He scored his first Premier League goal against Aston Villa, nice little volley in the box, and he also got an assist in their 1-0 win over Sunderland on the final match day. Too bad for them, that was the 93-20 year for Manchester City. However, Jones would indeed help United to the Premier League title in what was the final season for Sir Alex Ferguson, an achievement he never thought he would have in his career, according to Jones himself. But once Ferguson left, like the rest of Manchester United, everything went a bit wonky for Phil Jones. A brief intermission in the name of levity and, I guess, balance here. There are plenty more positives coming in this video, but you cannot speak about Phil Jones without speaking about two things that brought people plenty of joy, Schadenfreude, for varying reasons, of course. The Jones face and own goals. Well, if you're a rival supporter, the latter brought joy. Sometimes it felt like he was channeling Richard Dunn, as if the king of own goals himself had possessed him. But again, I bring this up because, like I said, when you speak about Phil Jones, you have to speak about it all, man. You can't skip over this stuff. The Jones face was the gift that kept on giving. It was Phil's interpretation of the guitar face, as many a photo of Jones contorting his face as he challenged for the ball would show up, or many slowed down videos of his face gradually morphing into that of a caricature of himself would pop up on social media. Hang him in the Louvre.
The Louvre?
Louvre.
It's French. The Louvre.
On top of that, we'll explain perhaps why in a moment, but Jones was building up a knack for scoring at the wrong end of the pitch, as mentioned before, as well as making high-profile mistakes. It was a shame because Jones was such a hard-working and committed individual, the kind of player who debate whether it's a good idea or not, but who would throw their head in without fear as an opponent would be volleying the ball, you know? He was so committed, he would go into things full force without regard for his own safety, and it would come back to bite him at times. In fact, the match that stands out the most for me that sort of encapsulates all of this, these Jonesisms and his high risk, high reward style that bordered on high risk, high chance of mistakes, would be Valencia versus Manchester United at La Mestalla in December of 2018, Mourinho times. In the first half, Jones intercepted a dangerous cross at the near post. Great positioning from him there. However, the only issue was that he headed the ball straight to Carlos Soler, who managed to slip it inside the far post. A slight lack of awareness there, but I mean, that could happen to anyone, right? Anyone could make that mistake at some point in their career. Well, while that could happen to anyone, the match became quite the Phil Jones show in the second half, and not in the ways he would have hoped, as he raced Michy Batshuayi to a through ball and ended up playing a back pass to the keeper, or at least he would have hoped, as it ended up rolling right past the keeper and into United's goal. They lost that match 2-1, and interestingly, Phil Jones became the first Manchester United player to score an own goal in the Champions League since Phil Jones, back in 2011, against an incredible club called SL Benfica. And there would be a few others. That own goal against Tottenham where he laid his head to rest on the net pole after. Net pole? What are those things even called? You know what I mean though? The pole that holds up the goal netting support pole? I don't know. There was the own goal against Chelsea where he bundled it in as well. There were many. However, even with these comedic moments, he wasn't that poor of a defender for the most part, and his work and commitment on and off of the pitch was incredible still. Who's Jonah, you ask? That's what his Manchester United teammates affectionately called him, and I say affectionately because from what I've read and watched and researching this video, everyone seems to have loved him at Manchester United, from the squad to the staff. And why wouldn't they? I mean, ultimately, he's just a fella from Preston who was fulfilling a dream that even he was confused had become a reality based on what he's said since his departure has been announced. Through every statement he has made, he's spoken of the sort of reverence that he has held in playing for Manchester United. It wasn't lost on him where he was playing. He seemingly never took it for granted. And based on how his now former teammates have reacted to his departure and what they have had to say about Jones, he was clearly someone who was highly respected in the dressing room. Bruno Fernandes, Rashford, Maguire, McTominay, etc., all of the players who have spent the most amount of time with him have nothing but good things to say about him. His dedication on the pitch, his commitment to training, and how he could always be found in the gym, the sheer amount of work he would put in when he was injured. More on that in a second, as injuries play a massive role here. But speaking to his commitment to helping his side, he was seen as a leader by the younger players, was always ready to give advice. I reckoned he'd be a great outlet for anyone who was going through a period of intense scrutiny. And of course, he was willing to play anywhere on the pitch. Perhaps it was this ability from such a young age, remember he signed with United at 19, that coaxed these infamous and honestly probably quite unhelpful words from Sir Alex Ferguson back in the day. Quote, "Jones, arguably the way he's looking, could be our best ever player. I think Jones may be one of the best players we have ever had, no matter where we play him. At 21 years of age, he's going to be a phenomenal player. I think he can play anywhere on the pitch. He has such a massive influence with his instinct and reading of the game. He has a drive about him." Now, Sir Alex said this back in 2013 after United had won the Premier League and the iconic manager was on his way out of the club. It's a quote that probably makes people laugh now with the benefit of hindsight, but at the time, Phil Jones was 21 years old and was putting in great performances no matter where he was on the pitch. Whether he was playing in the midfield alongside Ryan Giggs, filling in at right back for Raphael, or in his favored center back position. In the midfield, he showed great vision, decent ability on the ball, and a surprisingly strong eye for an ability to execute a pass. He was just looking like a strong footballer in the truest sense of the word, someone who can excel in a few different positions wherever the manager needed him. Again, these words no doubt didn't help in that he will have been scrutinized to an insane degree by rival supporters or doubters and built up with so much hope and expectation by those who supported him. It was almost an impossible situation for him in that, look, expecting him to really become United's bona fide number one player in the history of the club, I don't think that many would have expected that, but surely for him to reach close to the levels of a few of the guys from, say, the class of 92 or something, if he had done that, then Fergie's words wouldn't have been seen as, silly with the benefit of hindsight. What was too bad for Jones was that throughout his career, along with all of the hard work and dedication he would exhibit, he wasn't actually that bad most of the time. There was just two aspects of his game that clashed, and unfortunately, one overwrote or undid the good of the other. His high-profile mistakes. We already spoke about the infamous match against Valencia, which is actually a great representation or encapsulation of how his career was viewed. Unfortunately for Jones, for all of the good he did, big mistakes like that would overshadow everything else for those who are either casual observers of United, for those who only saw the social media headlines of another high-profile mistake, etc. But on top of that, Jones turned out to be an incredibly injury-prone player, unfortunately for him. For throughout his career, he would have layoffs due to every kind of leg injury you could name. Just look at this injury record here from Transfermarkt. The way that his career was so consistently inconsistent due to injuries makes it difficult to find any kind of form. You go into each match with the anxiety of finally making your return and wanting it to go perfectly, to not put a foot wrong, and that's the exact kind of mentality that will cause you to make mistakes, right? But I cannot emphasize enough how much injuries have played a role here. As of late, his knee has seemingly gone completely. In the last 3 years, Jones has started just twice. In 2019, he was given a new contract, which would have surprised many, as this was around the same time that Jones was very much injury and subsequently error prone, but it was the former that has seemingly brought his United career to an end, and his career in general is sort of in question at the moment. After not starting a match for 722 days in January of 2022, Ralf Rangnick gave Phil Jones the start against Wolves alongside Raphael Varane. United lost the match, but Jones played quite well, certainly United's best defender on the day. After the match, Jones was in tears as he walked off the pitch, and now, as he is leaving, you can understand why. For us watching, it's easy to be cynical and say, well, he'll be happy to be collecting money for doing nothing on the sidelines, but I genuinely don't think Jones is that guy. He wasn't even able to train with the first team for the entirety of this past season. Erik ten Hag saw him train for a grand total of 20 minutes, which occurred in the very first training session of the new manager's tenure, before Jones was back to recuperating and rehabilitating on his own due to injuries. With this in mind, the words from his open letter to the supporters hit even harder. I wish I could have played more. I wish I could have given more to many squads I played alongside. I will say from the bottom of my heart, I did everything I could. I did everything the medical team asked of me. I never left a stone unturned in the pursuit of living my dream and having the opportunity to represent Manchester United on the pitch. I spent some difficult days away from my family, rehabilitating and recovering away from everyone, recuperating away from the training pitch, which I was desperate to get back to. I've said before that I found it hard to even speak to my teammates because I was hurt that I couldn't help them. I was hurt that my family couldn't see me on match days, and you feel like you're letting people down. I lived a dream at the biggest club in the world. I played for England in major tournaments. At United, I won trophies, most notably the Premier League under Sir Alex in his final season. When you look at the player that Phil Jones was threatening to be at 21 years of age, it's a shame to see how things played out, and all the more sad to see the pain he went through both from injury layoffs and the ridicule he received, when all he wanted to do was represent and win trophies for Manchester United. I mean, the man was clearly traumatized by the abuse he received. It was hard to hear that he turned down a testimonial match from the club, his reasoning being that, quote, only my mum and dad would turn up. Damn, man, that's some next level bullying and cruelty. To push someone to the extent where they actually fear something that's supposed to be a celebration of their achievements. But as things have come to an end, again with the benefit of hindsight, I think people will remember Phil Jones in a more positive light. I mean, I hope they will. The guy just wanted to play. He was committed, but unfortunately injuries and incredible errors kind of derailed things a bit for him. But hey, like I said, I never thought I'd be making this video, nor that I would go on this long about Phil Jones. I hope you enjoyed this look back at his career, and if you did, a subscription is always appreciated. I'm Adrian. Thanks for watching, and be well. Ciao.